Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video on Langophilia. This time I am again here with Vitor from Alomorfe. Thanks that you're here.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, this is the second part of our Albanian video series, so to speak. This time on my channel, and I would like to present to you the Geg Albanian variety. In Geg Albanian, it is called Gegnishtja, as it is written here. So that is the native name of the variety. And yeah, as we have already said, this is the second part. Now let's start with a little introduction. Geg Albanian is the second main Albanian dialect besides Tosk Albanian, on which the standard is based. There are approximately 3 to 4 million native speakers of Geg Albanian. It is spoken mainly in North Albania, in Kosovo, in North Macedonia, in South Montenegro, South Serbia, and many more countries in the diaspora, like in Switzerland or in Germany, there are big communities. There are many subdialects, and we can say about Kosovo, for example, that the dialects often differ from district to district. And yeah, Geg Albanian is the non-standard variety because Tosk is the standard, mostly. There are also some Geg features actually in standard Albanian, but very few only. Yeah, so I would like to show you this map again so that we can have a look at the where Geg Albanian is located. So you can see the greenish colors are the Geg Albanian varieties in North Albania, some parts of North Macedonia, and Kosovo mainly, and some cities in South Montenegro and South Serbia. And the reddish parts are the Tosk dialects.
And what's up with the intermediate dialect? It has like mixed features.
I would suppose so. I'm not sure actually about this map what this intermediate dialect is, but I can imagine that it is some kind of transitionary dialect.
It's a continuum probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it has features of both varieties, I can imagine. But yeah, let's move on to the influences on Geg Albanian, because there are various languages surrounding Geg Albanian or before that have been surrounding Geg Albanian, like Turkish, for example, during the Ottoman reign over the regions of Kosovo, Albania, etc. So there are more Turkish words now in Geg Albanian in Kosovo, especially than in Standard Albanian. I have chosen some that I would like to show to you. So for the word but in Standard Albanian, it would be por, which is probably from Latin because it sounds similar to pero in Spanish or pero in Italian. I can imagine it comes from Latin. However, in Turkish, they say amor, and this is the same word also used in Kosovo, amor, for but. A similar thing happens to the color yellow. So in Kosovo, you would hear people saying esaret, which comes from Turkish, and the standard Albanian word is everd, which comes from Latin, I think. And in the other Romance languages, it
changed the color.
Yeah, it means
changed
green,
the meaning.
Actually. And
yeah.
And some people, some subdialects in Kosovo actually use a verb for green. Although there are also other words like ejelbert and yeshile, which can be used for green. But yeah, this is just a little side fact. And then the word for morning, so the noun morning in Turkish, it is, I think, sabah. And this is also used in Kosovo for morning. In the original Albanian word would be mëngjes. So yeah, both words are used, I would say, in Kosovo, but people often use the Turkish word sabah. This is also true for the words for evening. I think it is akşam, in Turkish, and this is also often used in Geg Albanian in Kosovo, whereas the original Albanian word is Bromja. But yeah, both are known, both are understandable in Kosovo. But yeah, there's, I think, more Turkish words in Kosovo than in Tusk dialects in South Albania. Also, we have to go back in history. Kosovo was long part of Yugoslavia, so it was not independent, and it has been influenced by Serbo-Croatian and especially Serbian varieties. So we can see this in words like for carrot. The original Albanian word would be karota, and in Kosovo, some people say shangareb, which comes from Serbian, which actually in Serbian, I think it is shargareb with an r after the first a, but in Albanian, they made it into a nasal, n, shangareb. That's a bit fascinating.
It's a real sound change.
Yeah, and then we have the word for pool, which is in Standard Albanian piscine. I think it comes from Latin, I'm pretty sure. And the word used in Kosovo sometimes is bazen, which comes from Serbo-Croatian, which also means pool there. Bazen, I think. They would stress it on the first vowel, I think. Then another structure which is influenced by Serbian is probably jam kon, which means I have been. I think this should be, yeah, here. I have been. In Standard Albanian, you would say kam chen. Kam means I have, just like in English, and chen is the past participle, been. But in Geg Albanian, in Kosovo at least, some people say jam kon, and jam means I am. So they would use the auxiliary to be instead of to have. And this is the same structure in Serbo-Croatian as well. And I have read an article that it is influenced by Serbo-Croatian. Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Also, there are some German influences recently because people have been going to Switzerland, to Austria, to Germany because of the wars and conflicts, etc. So many Albanians learn German and have thus been influencing the Geg Albanian varieties in Kosovo. So for example, people say, I think I've read Gepek for the boot, the trunk of a car, and in Standard Albanian, it would be bagaj. Another word is the word for carpet, which is in Standard Albanian chilim, but people in Kosovo would say tepi, which comes from tepish in German. Yeah. Another word is the word for construction site, which you can see outside where people are working on a building, for example. The original Albanian word would be cantier, I have found out, but people would also use, especially in Kosovo, they would say baustel, which comes from Baustelle from the German word. Exactly, because yeah, some Albanians have been working on construction sites and thus have been importing the word into their Geg Albanian varieties. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see how the language tells people's story.
Yeah, definitely.
Stories.
All right, let's go on with the phonology. So Geg Albanian has much more vowels than Standard Albanian. So we have seen in the first part of the video that Standard Albanian has 7 vowels, which are pretty okay. They are not that big. But Geg Albanian has around 20 vowels. Also, including nasal vowels, which is pretty unique, I would say, among Indo-European languages. Of course, your mother tongue also has nasal vowels. So yeah, I've marked them in red in various colors here, because in these words you can find the colors again, and then you can see which vowel is which. I will try to pronounce them. I'm not sure if I would pronounce them perfectly, but I will try. So the the first word means three, the number three, which is tre, tre. Then the verb menate means to chill, to relax, to stay. And this is this ash vowel, a nasalized one in this diphthong, menate, menate. The next word means moon, han, han, han. So this can either be the first one or the vowel afterwards. It depends on the region, I think. And then we have the nasalized u, which is found in the word for where. Where means ku, ku. Then we have mefshi, mefshi, which means to wipe. And lastly, we have mepstu, mepstu, which means to spit, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, these...
So Geg Albanian, we have no way of representing the nasal vowels like kun. Kun has no representation of the nasal parts of the vowel. I mean, it's just written like normally.
Yeah, that is a good question. Actually, some people have been writing kind of, I don't know how this sign is called, but they use roofs over the vowel.
Circumflex.
Yeah, circumflex, exactly. And some people have been writing with these vowels, but if you ask common people in Kosovo, they would normally not use them in chats or yeah. So it is not very widespread, I would say, but it is common. So you would find this in academic texts, maybe. Yeah, some people have been doing this. Yeah, let's go on and talk about the schwa, which is represented like the e with umlaut in Standard Albanian, also in Geg Albanian. If we take the capital of Kosovo, which is Pristina, it is not pronounced at the end, so it is dropped. Also in other words, like if we take the plural, the cows, in Standard Albanian it would be lopet, lopet, but in Geg Albanian it would be lopt, lopt. So it is just dropped. Then the word for you make, you do, would be in Standard Albanian T-burn, to T-burn, but this becomes some kind of nasalized vowel. So the bluish vowel I indicated, I think. So it would, some people write it with an A, some with an O. It would be T-bon, T-bon. Then we have the greeting, good evening, which would be Miembrama in Standard Albanian, but this becomes Miemrama in Geg Albanian. So sometimes, yeah, some people would write it maybe with an O again for the schwa in the middle, and the schwa in mir is dropped again because, yeah, some people would usually say mir and not mir. Yeah, another interesting fact is that the schwa was formerly pronounced as either I or U. This is still preserved in some Geg Albanian varieties in Kosovo, but in Standard Albanian, this has turned into a schwa. So for example, if we say, I don't like it, it would be in Standard Albanian, sm pëlqen, but in Geg Albanian in Kosovo, you would hear people saying sum pëlqen. So they would actually turn the vowel around and pronounce it as a o, sum pëlqen, instead of sm pëlqen. This can also be seen if we say something like see you, so the greeting see you. People would normally say show him. However, the second vowel is in unstressed position, so it would become a schwa, show him, show him. And some people even turn this or pronounce it as a u, show him, show him, I have seen. And this also happens if we say, if we use the word for to hear, so we hear each other again, so to speak, which would be nihum, nihum. And yeah, Another example is the word for wedding. In Standard Albanian, it is dasma, dasma, with the schwa in the end. And this is still a u sound in some Geg Albanian varieties. They would say it like darsum, darsum. Yeah, I found this very interesting. So Geg Albanian has preserved some older things which are not common anymore in Tosk Albanian varieties. Yeah, I still have some phonological features here. Let's just present them all. Yeah, so in Geg Albanian, there are some long vowels which are used to differentiate word meaning. So if we take the word which is written with DHE, first it can mean and, then it is pronounced like the. Also, it can mean earth, ground, soil, and it would be pronounced as the. So here, I'm not actually sure if Tosk Albanian speakers would pronounce it the same. I'm not sure, but I have read often that this is a feature of Geg Albanian, so I wanted to include it. Also, which is an older feature, is that in Standard Albanian, the n, the nasal n, became a rhotic r. But in Geg Albanian, these nasals are still preserved. So if we take the word name, in Standard Albanian, it would be emer, emer. In Geg Albanian, it is emen, emen, with the n and the end. The same with the word for dust. So in Geg Albanian, it is pluhun, pluhun. In Standard Albanian, it is pluhur, with the r in the end. And another word would be wide, the adjective, wide. In Geg Albanian, it is edjon, edjon. In Tusk Albanian, in Standard Albanian, it is ejere, ejere. And here the r is still there and the schwa also, but in Geg Albanian, it is the nasal vowel, edjon, edjon. Another feature is that there is no contrast between the letters Q and the C with Cedilla. So both are pronounced the same in Kosovo, at least, as a ch sound. This is the same for the letters G, J, and X, H, which are both pronounced as j. And sometimes you can see people mixing them up when writing in chats or informally on the internet. You can see that sometimes they don't really know how they would be written in Standard Albanian, I want to say. So yeah, they are just pronounced the same.
How do they say the Q and the C with the cedilla in Tosk Albanian? What's the difference between the consonants?
So the Q would be written phonetically with the C. I'm not sure how to describe this sound in terms of manner and place of articulation, but it would be ch, ch. It's a bit
like with a palatal.
Yes.
Palatal fricative.
Maybe yes. Maybe you're right. And the same would be then the G, J. It would be the voiced variant, j, j, j. Okay. So it's a bit more back in the mouth. Exactly. And also in Geg Albanian, we have the, I think it is a vela nasal, which is a proper phoneme in Geg Albanian. For example, if we take the word for hello or bye, it would be tung, tung. However, yeah, this also exists in Standard Albanian, but only as an allophone before g and k. But in Geg Albanian, it is a proper phoneme. Then I would like to show you some morphosyntactic features. In contrast to Standard Albanian, we have infinitives. So this is something cool, I would say. If we take the infinitive to say, it would be methon, methon, and it is constructed with the word me, which means with, and thon, which is the past participle. So if we say, I wanted to say, it would be doshta methon, doshta methon. If we say, I want to say, in the present tense, it is do methon. And I will say is kam methon. So we can see the infinitives are used and not a subjunctive construction, which would be the case in Standard Albanian. Also, which is very, very strange, is that there's a completely different future tense. And this is, I don't know any other dialects of other languages that have different future tenses. But this is very, special. So in Standard Albanian, you would say do të jem for I will be. In Geg Albanian, it is kam me kon. Me kon is the infinitive again, and kam means I have. So I have to be, literally. Then if we say you will eat, it would be do të hash. So Standard Albanian uses the subjunctive construction të hash. And in Geg Albanian, it is ki me hunger. And it would be ki you have, me hunger to eat. If we take another example, which would be, yes, you plural will read. In Geg Albanian, it is keni me mësu, and in Standard Albanian, it is do të mësoni. And we can see that the past participle of learned would be mësuar in Standard Albanian, but in Geg Albanian, it has become msu. So the schwa is dropped again, and the AR in the end is also dropped. Yeah, msu instead of msuar. Then there are also slightly different progressive forms. So we could say for we are going, in Standard Albanian, jemi duke shkuar. Jemi means we are. Duke is something like some kind of progressive marker, and shkuar is the past participle again from to go, so gone. And in Geg Albanian, we would say jena, which is we are, to shku. So the past participle is shortened, and duke is to, which is also shorter. Yeah. Then we also have other imperfect forms. So in Standard Albanian, for I was thinking, the imperfect would be mendoja. In Geg Albanian, you would hear something like menoisha. So they put in this sh sound, and they also drop the D, which is reduced. Another interesting case would be I was saying, because there are actually two forms in Standard Albanian. It would be either thoja or thosha. In Geg Albanian, it looks like they turned them both into one word, and they say thoisha. Yeah, so thoja and thosha, they would say thoisha. I'm not sure if there's any truth to this, but yeah, I found it funny.
It's funny, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the example I would like to show you. So this is again the first Genesis, the first 3 lines, and this has been rewritten into Geg Albanian. I could not find a written Geg Albanian Bible on the internet, so we had to rewrite this with my speaker, who is from Jakova, which is in southwest Kosovo, and I will just show it to you.
Në fillim, Perëndia e krijoi qiellin edhe tokën. Toka që e papunune, thot, e tjerri e mloj sipërfaqen e thellësisë, edhe fryma e Perëndisë fluturoi përmi sipërfaqen e ujit. Masanaj Perëndia tha, u bof drita, e drita u bo.
And yeah, that's already it. Yeah, Gegnistia is the name of the variety. Fund means and in the background we can see 3 Geg Albanian men with their hats. So they have this kind of white hat, which is called plis. And plis.
Plis.
Yeah. So this is a very traditional Albanian thing, also in Albania and among Tosk and Geg Albanians. And it is very common. My grandpa also used to wear this, but other men in the family don't. So actually I think it is mostly only worn by the eldest man in the family, if I'm not mistaken. That was the case in my family. But that was it about Geg Albanian.
Okay, that was really cool dialect.
Yeah,
Really,
hope you learned something new.
yeah, everything I learned was new. it's these not forgotten dialect, but these dialects that are not used in the standard form usually preserve some really cool features that most people are not aware of, and they
Yes.
are preserved in another that kind of thing.
Yeah, and often these dialects are under documented and under researched, so you can't find, for example, a grammar of Geg Albanian, which I would like to write someday, which is one of my dreams. But yeah, I would see.
Yeah, it's a really nice project.
Yeah,
really nice.
I hope I can pursue it. Yeah,
Well,
all right.
I believe.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thanks that you were here. I hope I could, widen your horizon. I could show you something about Albanian.
Thank you. I learned a lot. That was awesome. It was an amazing collab. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I was also glad. I think it is a great collab we did. And yeah, I will leave your links again in the video description, the Alomorfe channel. So please subscribe to his channel. We made the first part on his channel, and also another series about the Portuguese language. Please check it out if you wish. It would mean a lot to us. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, to comment, leave your thoughts in the comments, like the video, share it with your friends, and see you next time on Lego Philia. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.